Oh, there's birds. All right, we're going around. We'll just maybe do a little pass. I don't know, it looks like deer or something maybe down there. Oh yeah, see them all? Oh, we can land it. Let's land. They look like they're gone. Go around. That was too much of the runway used. All right. We are going to try a different frame weight today. So we're just getting our airplane warmed up. It was, I don't know, close to minus 10 this morning, so it's warming up here in Minnesota. It was like minus 30 last week, so we did other things. So anyways, let's see how this goes. All right, here we go. Let's taxi out here. All right, so I come down here and I turn left so that I don't blast everything in the hangar. So I'll just go nice and slow, turn left, taxi our way out here. You can see we got a little more snow out here today. We are supposed to get, I don't know, about 3 more inches here tomorrow. We'll see. And we'll be out plowing the runway again, kind of like mowing in the summertime. But in the summertime, you usually got to mow every week. But so in the wintertime, sometimes you don't have to mow every week. You just plow every week. So we'll taxi our way up and out here. Get ourselves out here to the runway. It is colder. I did preheat it for a couple hours. So I put a heater on the engine and let it sit and warm up. And but at the same time, it's still takes a while to get the engine temps all up to temperature before we take off. So we got some warm oil. So we're gonna let it warm up here after we get down to the runway. We'll check everything out, do all our other checks, and then we'll take off and go for a little flight here. All right, so yeah, you can see I pushed some of the snowbank back there, and we'll turn up, hold here short of the runway, and do our checks. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I got oil temperatures up, everything else across the board, fuel pressure, everything, engine temp, cylinder temps, everything is looking good. Did our run-up checks, got my altimeter set. Checked all the flaps, doors locked, so everything. So, all right, let's taxi out. Line ourselves up at the runway. All right. Center on the throttle, pressure in the forward. There we go. Good stuff, Mason. There we go. Alright. We're up to it. Checking all our temperatures, make sure they're all coming up fine. Get up to altitude, straight ahead. Okay, we'll bring you around the pattern once here as everything's warming up. up in the air, maybe a couple things.
All right, we are coming into Malacca traffic. Both is kind of loud, so I'm kind of tweaking that a little bit. So we'll be checking the runway out here before we land. Here we go. Malacca traffic. This is RV Center Charlie Yankee entering downwind for 16 Malacca traffic. Alright, well, just take a look at the runway. Looks like it's all plowed out, so we will get down there and take a little close look on final if anything went wrong. We will go around, so. Alright, slow her down. Looks like a little snow and a little ice, but it looks like it's all been plowed, so. Similar to back at home. Alright, we'll get the RPMs. Alright, there we go. Here then. Getting down to about 100 miles an hour before I start adding any flaps. We just got a slight wind out of the south. Malacca traffic, this is RV7 Charlie Yankee turning base for 16 Malacca traffic. Alright. We'll look to the right. Make sure there's nobody on final. Alright. Malacca traffic, RV7 Charlie Yankee turning final for 16 Malacca traffic. Alright, you guys set up about 80 or so. That is it's within a few miles an hour my landing and takeoff speeds. So. Stall speed is down by like 50, so try to stay well above that. Got a little sun there coming off the horizon. Oh, there's birds. Alright, we're going around. We'll just maybe do a little pass. I don't know, it looks like deer or something maybe down there. Oh yeah, see them all? Oh, we can land it. Let's land. They look like they're gone. Go around. That was too much of the runway used. Alright, well, there was some deer there. Alright, we'll drop some flaps. I'll drop the flaps. Right on there. Alright, go around. The deer on the runway. Malacca traffic, the RV7 Charlie Yankee, back in the downwind for 16 Malacca traffic. Okay. Alright, we slow her back down again. There we go. We maybe could have landed, but with the ice and the snow, we would have been sliding right to the end of the runway. So I didn't want to have that big of an adventure today, hopefully. So, alright, there we go. Got flaps on, we're slowing back down to 80. Malacca traffic, RV7 Charlie Yankee, turning base for 16 Malacca traffic. Alright, we're going to turn a little earlier, because we are a little lower height. So, there we go. Malacca traffic, RV7 Charlie Yankee, turning final for 16 Malacca traffic. Alright, now we are on final. I don't see any deer on the runway this time. We'll keep an eye open just in case there's any extras, and we will do full power and go around if need be. But Let's try again. There we go. A little bumpy out here this morning. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's roll her out nice and easy. Alright, there we go. Alright, we're going to taxi over to the fuel pumps. That's where all the deer came through at. And we'll get this topped off. You can see there's a lot of snow. Just a little light snow, and then there's a lot of ice on the runway. Clearly they had some melting and freezing. Looks like they could have brushed the runway if they wanted to, but they look like they left some on there. But, alright, let's taxi up to the fuel pumps here. And we'll get bundled up to get outside. And we'll top it off. And we'll go do some more flying. So, alright, let's taxi over. We'll shut her down.
Clear prop. Alright, all filled up. We are going to taxi back out and head out for a little flight here. So we'll taxi ourselves back out to the runway. A little breeze has picked up. So a little more than when we landed, but so we might take off the other way. Alright, here we go. That's before we get out on the runway. We'll make a call. We'll look for traffic. Alright. Check the windsock. Malacca traffic, RV7 Charlie Yankee. Taxiing out to back taxi for runway 34, Malacca traffic. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Still check for anything out here. We had some deer on the runway earlier. We got a lot of ice. And a light thing of snow. It'll keep you, so if you're hitting your brakes, you could slide on this and then grab. So you got to be, use all the runway you got and just be gentle on your brakes. We'll add one notch of flat. Malacca traffic, RV7 Charlie Yankee taking off 34, departing to the north, Malacca traffic. Alright. Everything on, gauge is good. Good. There we go. Brakes off. Slow the right pedal. There we go. Let her get some air. Bring the flaps down. Get my climb going. And bring her up. Alright, well that's the other direction for taking off from Malacca. I don't see anybody else in the area. Didn't hear anybody on the runway. Runways. The wind is more of a crosswind, so you can land either way. Alright, we'll get up to altitude.
northwest field. Alright. And we're going to head north. We'll catch you when we get a little farther out. Alright, so we are about 25 miles away from Greenland right now. So this is my view. So just kind of looking out, you can kind of see things are out and right. So anyways, just cruising along here, and looks like about 8 minutes out, about 25 more miles to go. We'll leave and catch up when we get closer. Back on the throttle, back on the pitch a little. That was slow down. Alright, one we're gonna like RV somewhere, keep turning base for 2 for that's out on that was a slow line. See that. Surface it. Alright. Like you turn 5 for 2-3, bring them up. Long run. You see to the left wing. Get the lights. Alright, there we go. Or lights are white over red. Left. Not sure if you can see that. Keep checking for other gauge is fun. So even 9's airspeed. Like trying to keep away from any of that stuff. Go down a little bit for movement. Alright, we'll slow her down. Bring her all the way down, and there it goes. Drop the flaps down. Flap all the way down. Let it roll off. When you see the brakes, there's a turn off. You know, and there's a little restaurant in there we've gone to before in the past. So it's nice and easy. We're doing the traffic RV, so turn. Alright, with that. Here. Alright, let's pull her into taxi up to our spot. You can kind of see there's some lines out here for parking. They're a little different than normal. There's like a kind of like a T. So you know where to put your wings and where to put your nose wheel. Line it up here. There we go.
There's a guy over here. That's cool. Cool. Thanks. All right. Walking back to the plane. Looks like everybody's gone. All right. Well, we'll check it out and we'll get in and fly her home. All right, well, welcome along. Let's check yourselves out. All right, well, had a little brunch.
Radar traffic clears 292 Charlie Delta, 5 mile final on the ILS 23 approach, radar traffic.
All right, sounds like everyone's using 2-3, so we will use 2-3. Give us a little bit for the engine to warm up again. From sitting here, so we'll get a little taxi all the way down to the other end of the runway. Should be able to see him taking off, maybe. We got somebody on a final for 2-3, so by the time we're down there, he'll be landing too, and then we'll take off after that. So, all right, we'll get down the taxiway, and then we'll turn this back on. All right, you can see it there, off the left maybe. There's somebody on final. They're gonna taxi out. You kind of see them. They're gonna come off to the left here. Where they come in and land. There we go. Alright, we're gonna take off after they taxi and clear the runway. So we're gonna come up here. We'll do our run up. in our checks. And,
Here's 52 Charlie Delta on the go, departing to the southeast, bring traffic.
Alright, okay, that's it, touch and go. So we will take off right after him. Alright. We'll do all the checks. Alright. Right left traffic, this is RB7 Charlie Yankee. Taking off runway 23, we'll be departing to the southeast, Bringer Lake traffic. Another guy did just take off. Alright, again. Good go. Alright, this is the ride back.
And Brainerd traffic, Cessna 3274, so turning final, 230, Brainerd.
We're just outside of Brainerd now. And headed back to heading back to home. And the sun in our eyes now, so being a little more diligent.
Brainerd traffic, just entering the downwind for 234, for Brainerd.
I'll sit back here for another 20 minutes and stuff, get back home. And I'll turn it back on and we go report landing. Catch it up. Alright, we are back home now. We are in downwind. We're going to take a little approach. Check out the thing. Check the bends. We had some deer and Malacca. We'll make sure everything's clear at home runway here. We're going to slow down. When you slow it down, get a little less airflow through and the heat. Cool it down a little bit. The cool off as we slow down. Alright, here we go. Check final. And home. Down the road. Let's take a look. Looks good. Nice and clean. Come down low. Here we go. There's airspeed. Looks good. Alright.
There we go. Around. Kind of go a little wider. Voice into the other areas here. Alright, we'll slow it back down again and we'll get our bigger touchdown this time. Alright, again. We're slow it down. Leave off the airspeed. Get her down to about 100 miles an hour. Everything in this one is in miles an hour, not knots. Alright, we got trim back. We had to set the flaps. Okay. Alright, one more set of flaps. There we go. Check, make sure they're nice and locked in. It's a little tight with the jacket and everything. Alright, let's turn base leg. Private RV, 7 turning base for 2-8 Fishman Private. Alright, check final. Alright, let's slow her down. There's a little breeze out of the southwest. That's the way it looked. Let's see what it looks like now. Alright, we'll get the trim. Yeah. 6 miles an hour.
Longbow traffic citation 70 Gulf Cheers, 20 miles to the southeast out of 7500. Will be runway 13 Longbow.
Alright. Yeah, ground speed is about 71, so looking good. A little different angle when it's cold because we can come in. It takes a little longer. You float a little bit with the thicker air, so. Alright. There we go. Got some airspeed. Head down. There we go. Slow down before some of the bumps. There we go. Drop flaps. Okay, more lift. Alright. There we go. It looks like off to the right, looks like a little bit of drifting occurred, so I have to clean that up later. So, anyways, but there's the runway there. We'll see the frame rate changing. It changed it mostly 0.4. I went down slower, so hopefully it doesn't focus on drop as much. We will taxi back here. You can kind of see with the windsock over there which direction things are at. So, but anyways, you can kind of see the snow piles off to the left up here. I don't know, they don't look so big in the videos, but it takes quite a bit to push all that back. So, anyways, all right, let's taxi on up. Get her back and close her back in. So. Nice and slow on the ice. There's the kids' little terrain park for the snowboards and stuff over there. Something to do here in the winter. All the snow, you might as well push together and make a hill. Taxi around that. All right. There we go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming along. A little adventure here today. Just went out, got some food, got some fuel, and just doing something when it's really cold in Minnesota. Might as well, you know, enjoy the thick air. Performs really well. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Have a good day.